When you are looking for resources, such as websites, books, and/or articles, where do you begin? A good place to begin is a good topic. What makes a topic good or bad is not so much the topic in and of itself, but more so how well you know your topic and your topic's maneuverability. Let me provide an example of maneuverability. I am interested in pursuing a topic along the lines of effectiveness of a ministry model known as Orange. I need to know a bit about Orange, who they are and what they do, before I can really dig into this. Orange is a ministry philosophy that argues that it takes both the efforts of home, red, and church, yellow, to effectively minister to a child. The combination of red, home, and church, yellow, is where they come up with the name Orange. It would also be important to observe that Reggie Joiner is a key player in Orange. If I go into Corbin Search and simply type Orange, I get numerous hits under the default settings of books, articles, and more. If I scroll down just a bit to subjects, I can quickly see that my search results have very little to do with the orange that I am looking for. We need to look at our topic a bit differently in order to work with databases and find resources related to our topic. Both Reggie Joiner and Orange are very narrow search terms. And secondly, as our results showed, the term orange has a lot of different meanings in different contexts. This is not necessarily bad, but it might help us out a bit to think of broader terms we can use that might help us come up with more results. For example, Orange is a ministry philosophy, and more particularly, a youth ministry philosophy or a Christian education philosophy. Church and home are also two critical components in Orange, and these two elements working together or collaborating is a key element of Orange. Thinking through these terms can assist in finding resources. Since my original search for Orange came up with a lot of irrelevant results, let's use the term Christian education philosophy to see if I can come up with some different results. While the results are somewhat different, the number of resources and their usefulness is questionable. So now what do I do? This is where a research triangle can assist. There are varying levels of resources available. Depending on where you are at in your research, differing tools can assist. If you are at a point in your research where you really do not know much about a topic, you are at the bottom of the triangle per se. When at this level, a reference tool typically works best. A reference tool is something like a subject-specific dictionary or encyclopedia. Something like the Evangelical Dictionary of Christian Education may be a good place to start if you know little to nothing about topics in this area. Another thing to remember is that these resources tend to cover things from a very broad perspective. For example, you likely will not find articles in a resource like this dealing specifically with Orange, but you'll likely find content dealing with youth ministry philosophy. The top of the triangle represents a very narrow subject, such as determining the effectiveness of the Orange ministry model. With some exceptions, journal articles tend to be written at this level. They cover a very specific element. This is why, when searching for something as broad as the concept of Orange, as we did earlier, it is not uncommon to uncover 100,000 plus results. When we look for articles, which we will talk about in another tutorial, you need to think specifically. Then there is the middle of the triangle. What is in the middle? While there are some exceptions, books tend to be in the middle. Oftentimes they provide a good balance of providing an overview of a topic, but specific enough to be utilized in a research project like this. If you recall, when we did our initial search for Orange, we came up with over 100,000 results. Since I'm still at an entry level in my research, I'm going to change my search parameters to books and more. Remember that articles tend to be very narrow, explaining why I have so many results when searching articles, whereas books tend to be a bit broader. So theoretically, I should not have as many books to look through. If I scroll down just a bit through my results, I run into what looks like a perfect title, Think Orange, by Reggie Joiner. This looks exactly like what I need. We'll walk through how to obtain this book and how to use it to find more resources in our next tutorial.